It's time for the Blob 2 review for the Wii. This is of course the sequel to the original Blob game that I reviewed a while back, and that game was fun. Does this game paint a pretty picture, or does it just go splat? Let's find out. The story is about how Comrade Black is back, and is trying to take over everything with the help of his minions by way of taking away all the color and leaving everything in grayscale. And so it's up to you, Blob, to restore color to everything, rescue the citizens called Prismans, and take down Comrade Black. Sounds familiar, right? This game is mostly sweet, but there are bitter ends to it, which I'll get to in a bit. First of all, you have to restore color to just about everything. To do this, you can touch items with Blob when he has any of the colors red, blue, yellow, orange, green, purple, and brown. Just a heads up, I'm sorry if this review sounds very similar to the review of the original Blob, because, well, this game is very similar. Every time you paint something, additional music will accompany the background music, and a different instrument will be played depending on which color you are at the time. You can paint just about anything: trees, buildings, billboards, and structures, and I'm sure if I had found garbage, you would have been able to paint that as well. There are a handful of side quests in each level, however I found out that, at least for me, I wasn't able to start them until after I finished the main quests of each level. I didn't like this. I like having multiple quests going at once. This game lets you play co-op with a friend. When I first found that out, I was like, sweet! However, it's not so sweet, because it's not the co-op experience I was hoping for or expecting. It's very much like Super Mario Galaxy 2's co-op mode. In this game, a friend can join in and play as Blob's robot friend and shoot paint at enemies, certain paintable structures, and also pick up items for you. It's not horrible, but I would really like to see a split-screen co-op campaign mode for this game series. A new addition in this sequel are power-ups. During certain times in the game, you can spend specific points to upgrade Blob's attributes, such as more paint points, armor value, and even upgrading Blob's robot friend's maximum paint point holder. I really like this feature, because another new addition to the game is Blob's dash attack. Using this attack is powerful and effective, but it sure drains your paint points fast, so not being restricted to a max of only 100 paint points anymore was a good idea. Another addition was a temporary invincibility item you could obtain, and that item is a bubble. You can roll around in the ink with the bubble surrounding you. However, if you're still in the ink when the bubble pops, you'll start to take damage by the ink, and your paint points will start to deplete. And another new feature are the 2D sections of the levels. The game will switch to a 2D side-scroller whenever you're underground or in the building. It's a nice addition, and it switches up the 3D monotony. However, they're not really too exciting. I prefer the 3D areas much more than the 2D, and the fact that you are forced into the 2D areas to complete the levels was annoying at times. Plus, second player can't help you in these areas. Speaking of which, the role of the second player can come in handy when it comes to obtaining those hard to reach items scattered throughout the levels, and can also paint you whichever color they have at the moment, but it's offset by the annoyance second player causes, especially when it comes to obtaining paint points. In order to add more paint points, you'll usually have to find one of many robots wandering throughout the levels that are carrying paint. If player 2 shoots that robot, they will gain the paint points, and you'll either have to wait for it to respawn, so to speak, or go find a different one. You have to have good communication when playing with a friend, otherwise it can get frustrating. The graphics look just as good as they were with the first Blob. Very colorful and smooth animations. It's not highly detailed, but it still looks very good. The controls are the same as they were in the prequel, with a couple of adjustments. In this game, instead of swinging the Wiimote down to jump on an enemy, all you have to do is press A while you're locked onto it. This works just fine, however I find it to be less fun, which was kind of disappointing. You can perform your dash attack while locking onto certain objects and pressing B. I'm still annoyed on how wall sticking works though. If you jump onto a wall, you'll automatically stick to it for a few seconds. I wish that you would have to hold down a button to grip the wall, because sometimes I'll jump and accidentally grab the wall when I didn't want to. Other than that issue, the controls work just fine. The biggest problem I have with the game is that the levels are pretty lengthy, but there's not enough variety to them. It gets pretty monotonous and almost static. Don't get me wrong, the game is fun, but even with the new additions of upgrading yours and player 2's stats, a new attack, a temporary item, and 2D areas, the game can still become dull to the point of having no ambition of finishing the game, and that's what happened with me. This also happened with the original Blob game. The levels are just too similar for how long they are. Now, it might sound like I'll never want to complete the game, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm sure I'll complete it sometime, but this isn't a game I just have to beat now. There are multiplayer mini-games you can play which are fun, and oh my, there are so many collectibles throughout each level. These will give you access to works of art and clips. Blob 2 is a really good game. Great graphics and controls, lots of collectibles, addicting gameplay, and co-op mode was a nice touch. However, the addicting gameplay can drop to monotonous gameplay. Co-op mode, although a cool addition, was disappointing, the 2D areas aren't too exciting, and I still find it annoying that Blob automatically sticks to a wall, a function that can really be annoying. Overall though, it's still a fun game. I think I like the first Blob game better for some reason, but I still like this one, and I think it's definitely worth checking out. This game gets a 3.75 out of 5 with the title of Awesome.